My name is Patrick Nelson. I work for Salt Lake City Department of Public Utilities as the Watershed Program Manager. The Watershed Program is a team of folks that help protect the water supply for over 360,000 people before it hits the treatment plants. After it goes into treatment plants and gets minimal treatment, this water goes to many parts of the valley, including Cottonwood Heights, Salt Lake City, Mill Creek, parts of Holiday, and if you count Little Cottonwood, also parts of Sandy City. We're here today talking about a new fuels reduction project, and that's a new thing. The history of the watershed has always been one of protecting the trees. And 100 years ago, when the settlers were here, they were using the canyons to help build up the valley. Wood for timber to build shingles and structures. They did mining to help booster the economy, and it left the canyons a little bit hard up. And the last 100 years, the city has worked very closely with the state of Utah and especially the U.S. Forest Service to help protect its water supply through environmental protection. But after 100 years, the fuels have built up to a point where, with climate change, the fires can be, in the 100 years of fire suppression, the wildfires can get really a little out of hand. So now they're looking at fuels reduction projects like this one here. The city, especially Salt Lake City Public Utilities, collaborates heavily in the watersheds with everything that we do. Like I said, the Forest Service is a huge partner. Salt Lake County is another huge partner. The state of Utah and both their Division of Forestry, Fire, State Lands, and Division of Wildlife Resources. We have expertise in knowing that fire hurts our watersheds and makes it difficult for our treatment plants to treat, but we don't have the expertise in fuels management. So we've been working really closely with the Division of Wildlife, Forestry, Fire, and State Lands, and the Forest Service to develop, following their lead, a fuels reduction program in Parleys Canyon. This project, the design of it is to reduce the density of the oaks. So if you remember in 2021 when we had that fire that ripped up off the freeway, off of a car whose catalytic converter was just throwing sparks, that fire moved very, very fast. And if we didn't have that level of air support just sitting because some other fires weren't letting them fly up in Oregon or something like that, it would have spread over into Summit County. And so we were lucky to have it. This project will help slow down any fires coming off the freeway, and it'll also reduce the fire severity. It won't stop them, but it'll make the impacts to our ecosystems and our watersheds a lot less, therefore protecting water supply ultimately. The way the Forest Service and the state describe it is they're going to have masticators up in the oak. So big tracked equipment, basically taking these oak stands and not removing 100%. So if you look at our treatment area, it's just making little pockets of oaks. So creating little pathways through them. It's not going to be mowing, it's not a clear cut, it's not anything, it's going to be little pockets of oaks remaining. And so there'll still be quite a bit of oak left because oaks are so essential to the wildlife and they provide so much food for so many different species. Mule deer, elk, black bears, wild turkeys, and all the species that depend on those to survive. We as a city are going to have to really formulate fire management into our watershed protections looking towards the future. We've seen fires blow out water supplies for cities in Colorado, for the Central Utah project, and the infrastructure is really hard to upgrade and change. So fire management and fuels reduction is going to be part of watershed protections moving forward. But in the greater context, this, what I understand, is just the start of the fuels reduction programs in Salt Lake County. This will be one of the most visible to start out with, though. 400 to 600 acres of oak thinning, and then they're going to move south from here year after year. They've been doing a lot of clearance work, and so I think folks can expect to see in their watersheds, Mill Creek Canyon, Big Cottonwood, Little Cottonwood, more different types of fuels reduction, but fuels reduction nonetheless. And the intent is just to reduce fire severity and long-term impacts. So if you get a fire, it's not killing the soil, it's still leaving the genetic memory, the microbes and the seeds that we need to kind of re-sprout, as opposed to 100 years of fuel buildup and just burning it and making it a wasteland.